Hey everybody, it's Casual Boops coming at you with another video, and today we're gonna step into the time machine again and do day 5 of the Advent calendar using the Asia server again. And today it is the Wheezy 121 GFT mouthful. It's the Tier 8 Chinese premium tank destroyer for 9,400 gold, and which let me see here. That's yeah, I think this is going to be a common trend here. It's 9,100. It's the cost of the tank plus a 300 gold garage slot. And I think at this point it's probably safe to say that the leaks that we thought were maybe could be legitimate on day 1, or sorry, day 2, I guess that Wednesday, are probably legit. So if you need a quick rundown of all the tanks in that list, I did a quick really rundown of that, or I'll just keep doing these each day just to be fast. But anyways, yeah, so the deals are the same. This is a full price tank plus the garage slot, and then the 5Xs. So do I think this is a good tank? Yes. Easy yes. So I'm just going to compare this to the Defender, just because I want to. I don't know. It's a pretty good way to decide whether the gun is derpy or not, because the Defender has a derpy gun. So I won't get too much into the gun stats here. Like obviously the DPM is amazing. 2,800 DPM for a Tier 8 tank destroyer is great. Like wow. And then the penetration is very good, but that's also pretty normal for tank destroyers. They don't really have guns of the tier above them, right? So they're a little further off, right? So they have to, they get compensated for that by having penetration that's higher than your standard heavy tanks or whatever. So 248 is good, but that's also not outside the norm for like other, let's just say other Tier 8 tank destroyers at that tier, like a Scorpion. Scorpion has 246, right? So this, like, maybe this is a better comparison actually now that I think about it, but you can see better DPM than a Scorpion by a fairly substantial margin, and then about the same penetration, 440 alpha as opposed to 490. This is all, it's tomato. What I wanted to get at here is that the gun here, it definitely, this is how they balance this tank. 6 degrees of gun depression is not awesome, and some of these stats are better than the Defender. Obviously the turret traverse, the Wheezy doesn't have a turret, but it's how you, if you're moving the gun around while you're in sniper mode, that's technically turret traverse. And that is worse. And again, this is that same 0.15 from the previous video, the Mutant, where it feels really derpy. Some of these other stats are better than the Defender, but that's also not saying much. If you are willing to sit still, the 0.35 final accuracy is good, but like these stats, which this is green, so it indicates that it's better. But again, the Defender is bad, so having it be better than the Defender doesn't say a whole lot. So the gun stats are still not awesome. And what I'm trying to get at here also is that the general playstyle of tank destroyers is to sit back a little bit more. Like you're in a Defender, you're going to be all up in somebody's face probably. So the gun is derpy, but you're close enough to counteract that. With a Wheezy or most other tank destroyers, you're meant to be playing back a bit further. So having a gun that's derpy like this, definitely you notice. And that's my one complaint. I think the tank is probably actually kind of overpowered, to be honest, and the only way that they've balanced it is by not giving it a turret, obviously, and then also by making it so that the gun is very derpy. Otherwise, mobility-wise, it's all good news from there. Like the mobility is great. It's on par with the Scorpion G, as you can see here. The hit points are fine. Like, this is all fine. I also want to say that the camo rating is surprisingly good for something that has as good of armor as this has. Having the camo rating that's this good at its base, and obviously if you train camo on your crew and you have paint on it and stuff, it's going to get that much better. This is excellent. And it's deceptive because it seems not very good, but when you start buffing it with the camo paint and the camo's crew skills and stuff, this gets very good. So yeah, the camo is very good. And I just wanted to say, okay, armor-wise, this is all the stats here. Armor-wise, this is a Carnarvon shooting at this. I just try to pick some random heavy tank at Tier 8. So just to give you an idea, if you're straight on, you're like just, seeing one of these things straight on and you're shooting it with standard rounds, like the upper hull, like the armor is okay. It's not like you can just sit there and expect somebody to never hit you, right? You do have these little cupolas or whatever, but like, it's okay, and it's angled, right? So if somebody's looking down at you, obviously that's bad. But if you're looking straight on, that's kind of 50-50, and it doesn't have a lot of gun depression, but if you're managing to use some of that, right, then you can see how this pretty quickly gets very good. So obviously the Carnarvon taps 2, it's kind of more of the same, really. It doesn't really help all that much. But then again, there's not that many scenarios where you can just stay using gun depression all the time. It's just, you know, 10 degrees of, it moves, the turret moves 10 degrees to one side and 10 degrees to the other side. So it is a little bit constricting that way. Like you can't move the gun that much from one side to the other. So you will find yourself moving the hull a bit to find your shots. So what I'm trying to get at with this is the armor is respectable for a tier 8. It's not like a TS5 where you're like up in people's faces and just daring them to shoot you and stuff, but this is also substantially more mobile than a TS5. So it's kind of that trade-off where it doesn't have quite as good of armor, but it is way faster. But at the same time, the armor does work okay, depending on what's shooting at you and how you're angling and all that stuff. And yeah, obviously the lower plate is still weak, as it should be. It has weak spots. It's not impenetrable, but I think the tank is very good. If you like tank destroyer gameplay, or, you know, I could say this kind of also can play as kind of a pocket medium or like a support heavy, like, because it is so, you know, it has some workable armor and it has just the characteristics of the thing with the derpy gun. Like it can play in a closer support role that a lot of like a Scorpion G couldn't, because it's as big as a house and it doesn't have any armor. So this thing is a little bit smaller and it does have some armor. So if you are okay with having a tank that doesn't have a turret, that's a big one. A lot of people just don't like that. And I would say this is not for a beginner because it doesn't have a turret, and that's going to make it that much harder to play. But if you're okay with that, and you don't mind a gun that's a little derpy, I'd say this is a buy. Like, this is probably this is definitely the best tank in the line. Not that that matters. I would say if you're on the fence, you look up some videos about it. It's very good. I think Sircon had something like a 80% win rate in this thing when he played it for like 100 games. It's very, very good. I will also say that the Chinese tank destroyer line is hot trash. So if you end up getting this tank, don't feel like, oh, I should go up the line now because I got this tank. Like, no, just play the tank and enjoy the tank, and then forget that line ever exists, and you'll have a good time. So anyways, yeah, that's the video. I think this is a solid, like, if you want it, then yeah, buy it. This is worth your time and worth your money, I'd say. So, all right, that's it. See you on the next one, guys. Thanks. Bye.